And thanks for hosting us again.
Thanks.
At Novicell.
Thanks. Welcome everyone. Yes, that's right. We're going to see a little bit of theory, a little bit of practical things. We're going to have a few quick demos as well. One more in-depth demo, right, Martin? You're going to show us how fancy your very niche tool it is, because this is what we're talking about, a bit of more niche things that we don't see necessarily on our feed in LinkedIn. And by the way, there might be one or two slides where it's barely mention AI. So this is anxiety-free AI chat, so don't worry about that. So let's start. Let's go with the presentation, if everything works. Yes, quick intro. We all know this sentence, right? We are, at least we are familiar with this mind game, if you want. Like if a tree fall in the forest, does it make a sound? I would like to see from you, there's no right and wrong, it's just perception. Who thinks it does make a sound? Who thinks it doesn't make a sound? I will say, this is what I think, right? Scientists, an annoying scientist or annoying structured mind like me and many of you would say, of course makes a sound, right? Because it expands the air and that's a sound. Forest keeper would say, but no, I didn't hear anything, right? What sound are you talking about? I didn't hear anything. Why I'm bringing this? Because this is what I would like to work with you, to understand that it doesn't matter how fancy or beautiful or great or best product you can have if you cannot tell how good it is. Saying another way, your product is as good as your ability to tell it is good. And that happened in this industrial sector. You have the best product, you have a global market, because nowadays everyone can type, but they cannot reach you, or they reach and they don't see the right information. They see there's no specifications, there is no images, there is no nothing. So the conversations, it will be along those lines. So understanding how, as an industrial company, sorry, there was a delay, you can start to write your digital roadmap to improve one of those things, one of those bits when you have better visibility. We're going to talk about issues, main issues that we see in our customers in the industrial and manufacturing sector, some solutions, and how to do a roadmap. It's very hands-on and very practical slides. And later we're going to do a Q&A and, of course, networking afterwards. My name is Leandro Benítez. I'm the director of Novicell here in Spain. Novicell is a Danish company with headquarters in Oss. Then we are in London and here in Barcelona. So let's start with the chat, right? This is what I see as the industrial the paradox in industrial manufacturing. Down in the assembly line, there is the state-of-the-art technology, like improvement, Lean, Six Sigma. You have everything. It's fantastic. It's beautiful. It's just go. If you're in some companies that you might have been, go to the production line, it's like, wow, this is beautiful. It's mesmerizing for me every time I have the opportunity to go there. There's one German company here that they do is Harman. They're in the north in Mataró. I managed to go there. They do tiritas. They bought tiritas. It's a brand, right? And I remember watching them. I was like, wow, this goes like a German company you expect to work. Like it's perfect, beautiful. Then you take the elevator to go to the marketing plant. And then you go back, maybe 1 century back. You have inconsistency in data. You have outdated catalogs. CRM is a mess. Marketing and sales, this is a theme that we see all over the place, is completely disconnected. And this is the reality. Why? I do have my personal theories. Of course, in the plan, there is more investment. That's for sure. In marketing gets a big chunk. My theory is that industrial companies, in the production line, every investment can be perfectly deterministic. If I'm going to invest in a new ventilation system, I can tell exactly how much air is going to move, how less energy is going to consume, how more efficient the machines are going to be. So I can trace the return of that investment perfectly. In marketing, we cannot do that. So we clash a little bit with the mentality in these companies, because when we go with a campaign to whoever we go with, the CFO or the CEO as a CMOs, right? And we try to propose a campaign, they will ask for the return on investment. And we say, who knows? You know, social media, AI, these things, it's everything so changing all the time. So I believe this is part of this paradox, these two stories. So my goal today is to walk with you this path, try to build this roadmap of how to make our sales and marketing as beautiful and cutting edge as the assembly line. Okay? Let's go. Now let's have a look at some issues that we've seen in our customers. Let's see if some of you have seen or experienced those as well. First one, everyone has their recipe. Most of the problems are about data at the end of the day. By the way, I'm going to treat. That's for sure. Yeah, I will. Prepare to pick me up. So everyone has their own recipe. What it means is not structured, it's not centralized data. Many problems these generate. This makes that not having a single source of truth generates issues not only internally but also externally. Also trust. When a customer sees different information of the same product, when you have a catalog, a PDF with a product, you see that PDF like is 4 years old, with the spec sheet is completely off and it's moving around because it was nicer maybe, or someone has taken that. There is not consolidation, there is not source of truth. We see this all the time. It's a big issue. We're going to talk about solutions later. Of course, your spec sheet, as a consequence of that, is outdated. Someone has generated a document. The document is in a digital drawer, in a folder of SharePoint most of the time. And because someone has put a shortcut, that's what they use. And it's no. That product, it has a different size, it has a different consumption, it's different specification, weight, material is completely different. Why we are still moving that? Not to talk about the website that has a different information, of course, and the internal tools as well. So this can generate several issues, even with your potential customers or your customers, when you're sending specifications that are not correct, that are not up to date. This is quite critical, I see, as a company. This should be one of the priorities for the organization. The information is not centralized. Documents are outdated. Salespeople, you know about this, Martin, probably more than anyone, they spend a lot of time searching for documents. One of the most well-paid people in the company, they might be spending 50% of their time just grabbing documents in SharePoint or in some semi-baked tool where they shouldn't. They just should be typing information. One customer that we have, they asked us to put order in the product with a software. We are going to talk about this type of software afterwards. And it wasn't marketing, it wasn't sales, it was actually R&D. R&D, they were spending so much time with the customer service department. They produce safes, safes just to store values. So customer department, they were calling customers saying, well, I don't know the master key, the master password for this. And because they didn't have a documentation centralized, they had to call R&D because they are the one that have most of the knowledge, and most of the knowledge is here or in some technical documentation. So they beg us to help them just to relieve their time so they can dedicate to produce, to make products. That is what they do. So this is critical. This goes for every industry, actually, but I believe it's quite important for manufacturing as well. If your website is slow, you're going to lose customers. think about your customer procurement. It has maybe 10 tabs opened. He's searching for specifications, prices. If you are brave and you put prices on the website, put prices on the website. Please do. It's challenging, I know, but try to, because AI likes that. Oh, I say I won't be talking about AI. But if your website is slow, you're going to lose customers. There is direct correlation between speed and conversion. And these that you're quite familiar, Martin, with that. Sorry, I skipped this one. Is the quoting. We have down the production line several processes, softwares, and machines that they make sure that everything goes according to the possibilities of the machines to produce, right? All the rules are there. You have those rules. Otherwise, factory will explode, right? So you cannot use this material with this product, or you cannot build in this size or whatever. Everything is baked there because you got investment, engineers apply that. More often than not, we don't have that in sales. In sales, we have an Excel. Excel is a great tool, but it's not for quoting, because you can put another zero into everything or remove another zero. And the Excel will say, yes, of course. And that zero can be weight. So instead of 100 kilograms can be 1,000 kilograms. And the Excel is going to say, yes, okay. But it doesn't understand the Excel about pallets, production, if that makes sense, if it changes the prices. So this is one of the main issues that we see also in the industry in regards to the low level of digital maturity. Right? This is the type of softwares that I was mentioning before. So the production plants, they do have those type of softwares. This is also quite common in every industry. This is hard to tackle and is about offering the same digital experience to your customers, to your non-customers, that you offer in person. You can do that. So if you have an account with a customer, with a provider of 5 million a year, and they offer you a tool, they say, well, after 5 years, we finally have a B2B commerce or whatever, and you enter and you have 20,000 pieces in the catalog. It doesn't know who you are, what you're buying, and it doesn't know anything. So we experience that quite often. It's just the company in their digital strategy roadmap, they have B2B commerce, check, done. Well, that's useless. Nobody wants that. If I go to this complex website, I want it to show, for instance, just the replacements, the spare parts of the products that I bought. I don't need to have like 500,000 spare parts, right? That's what I'm talking about. Of course, I also want my prices applied, my discounts, etc., my history of acquisitions, and so on. And another of the issues that we have, this is quite recent. Sorry for talking about AI again, but all your websites have experienced a drop of best case scenario 20%, worst case scenario 50% of visits in the website, and that's fine. It's what it is. Now it works differently. But we have with this new situation, we try to apply the same rules, like trying to stuff keywords, put more keywords. We see that with many customers. More keywords, more keywords, more keywords. The rules are different. We need to understand them and apply it. LLMs work in a different way. You might hear, which is totally true, this thing. I don't have a slide for this. I will try to mimic the slides. Okay, bear with me. I will draw a Venn diagram. This is the Venn diagram of the SEO good practices, right? The AIO, or the practices for positioning AI, is a subset of this SEO. I don't know if you heard that concept, right? And it's true. It's a subset of the good practices of SEO. But very soon, I will say even today, it already pops out, and there are specific practices just for AI that we need to take into account. If you're interested, we can talk about those later. It's about having your website render information in markup way. That's fine. There's another technology which is called web MCP, which is telling the LLM that is connecting to your website how to use the website. Instead of these agents taking like a snapshot and understand what is going on in your website, you're telling explicitly. You tell what is a product, how to add into, what is the action to add into the shopping cart, and so on. So those are already good practices that are out of the SEO. So we'll see that later. And last and the most common, it's impossible, tell me otherwise, for marketing people to work properly the attribution model. If I ask to any CMO, like, okay, tell me the return of investment of your campaign, the most brave will drop a number, but most of the time they will say, well, I really don't know. Why? Because marketing contributes in the majority of every sales. We know that. We talk about 60, 70, 80% of contribution of marketing activities. What I mean by that, a new customer that you have had at least 10, 20 digital interactions. That's marketing material, right? They somehow came to your website, maybe a marketplace, maybe they receive a catalog, something happened there, but we struggle to attribute that. So the truth is that there are some ways to trace that. The simple one is to make these two people talk a little bit more, sales and marketing, and the cutting edge technology, this is ironic, is to have the people in sales asking, how did you find us, please? Can you tell me that? Number one. Number two, put that in the CRM, okay? But we're not, this is just issues, not solution. But sometimes it's just not tools, it's communication. But this is the main issues that we see in the company. As you've seen, it's related with data not flowing, data being scattered in different places, is related with communications and good practices between different departments, and is also at the end of having the right tool, right? You could sort this out and have an average efficiency. Then having the right tool, everyone that does some DIY, they can understand that if you work on wood or whatever is your hobby, you know what important is to have the right tool for the right task. So what are the solutions there? This is a wrap up. Let's go for the solutions. This is our toolbox. Not even a full toolbox, but this is an idea of our toolbox in channels, disciplines, and tools per se. Tools are those digital solutions that you can go there and buy in the market. Now we're going to talk about solutions. We will barely scratch the surface of these ones. Of course, there's no time for everything. If you're interested, we can talk about those later. When we'll see this, we'll see quick demos. And Martin, I saw you like picking there, CPQ was there. There is one that Martin is very much knowledgeable. He'll do a quick demo for us. Let me go back. A lot of acronyms here. If you can recognize half of them, that's fine. Don't worry. Let me tell you something. In every industrial company, they do have those one way or another. Even the tools, even if it's not the specific tools, the discipline is there. Right? Let's review those. Before jumping into the solutions, if you want to implement a digital roadmap in your industrial company, suggestion, speak the company language. What we're talking before, Lean, Six Sigma, is industrial language. Standardization, automation, measurement, right? That's what they do. So lean into lean, not intended, sorry. Start to speak the language that the CFO likes. CFO can approve a $500,000 project in the production line. You say, well, in 6 months we have the money back because we will save this, and that. Oh, can I sign to? So let's move towards that language. It's not that challenging if we sort out the data and the communication. Second bit before going to solutions is a quick reminder. I might have told you this before in other conversations about this difference of monolithic and composable. Long story short, you might be inclined to buy one tool that does it all. And this is like, you know, the Victorinox kind of knife, Swiss knife, right? It does everything. Nothing right, though. It's not the best knife. It's not the best fork. It's not the best bottle opener. It does everything poorly and average. So it's not a great deal. You cannot compete being a chef. You cannot be a chef and have a Victorinox, right? We agree with that. So we want to be chefs, not like the first slide, but we want to have the right tool for the right need. So how we do this? So we stop going for these monolithic solutions, and we try to pick the best solution for your need, and then be very clever in how we put them together. There's a whole theories, industries, and ways of connecting this data. We cannot speak about that here, but I'm glad to take that one-on-one. If you are interested, just Google this composable thing. That's the keyword that you need to go there. How can I compose different tools together? Now, let's go for these solutions, because we like to see practical things. PIM. This is a hardcore of your strategy in marketing, I will say. Sorry, but I do believe that. Is the centralized information of your products. Every company has, I like to see this with the customers, every company has a PIM. They do have it. Just their PIM is for Excels, one PDF, and John, the guy that is 30 years working in the factory, that has everything here, right? That's your concept of PIM. Okay, 2026, we need to digitalize that and centralize that as much as we can. If we cannot buy a tool for whatever reason, that's fine, but we need to standardize the process of data going in and out. A PIM is the software that everyone will look into to know anything about product. There's going to be the flows, the improvements. Marketing will go there to add descriptions. Technical department will go there to add the specifications. And most important, if it's well connected, as I said before, composable thing, the PIM will derive the information to the website, to the eCommerce. Everything will flow beautifully. It's not that sounds maybe complex. It's not a rocket science. It's just one simple tool that you properly connect. And you actually define the rules on how it should go to the website. Once let's say I have a product to go to the website, needs to have the specifications, of course, but also I need a great picture of certain quality, and I need one text for the website, big description, small description, title, or whatever. I can control if it complies with that. We were talking about before about quality and everything, this quality of data. If it has these 30 parameters, then it can go to the website, right? That way you're sure that the website has the information that it needs to have. And it's exactly the same information that has the catalog and the portal for your customer. Because if an engineer say, well, we have changed this product had an issue or whatever, we make it smaller, bigger, lighter, whatever, consumes less energy. You put that in the PIM, and the PIM say, okay, poof, and the information is live everywhere it needs to be. That also generates a culture in the company of not having much static data. So I don't want a PDF because it's faster or easier or more secure for me to go to the PIM. I'm more sure of the PIM because it will have the right information. And it's really just a simple tool. Maybe you cannot see it by there, but this is one of the PIMs that we work with. It's one of the vendors that we are partners with. List of products. You have a dashboard where you can see how your products are flowing. It's really very simple. Implementation of one of these projects is not that challenging. You need to pick the right one. We will talk about how to pick the right one later. Another tool, by the way, we're going to share the slides also if you want that references. Another tool is the DAM, which is something similar for products, but for images. Why I love DAM I like also the name DAM. Why I like that? Digital Asset Management, sorry, by the way, yes, digital asset management. It's like the BIP, but for every file, images, or whatever. Why I love this for industrial? Because industrial companies, they must have CAD or more complex files with all the specifications of their products. They need to have those, otherwise they cannot make them, right? What they never have is pictures of those products, which is fine. You want the pictures, even if are not fancy products. So the engineer that is searching for your products, they want to see the piece, how it is. It's with specification, better. So the DAMs, modern DAMs that can convert those files to renders or 3D versions that you can watch on the website. So you don't need to take pictures. So you can imagine having 2,000 pictures and putting them in a table, like click, click, like this could be like, no, you don't need to do that. So that can go automatically. Specification changes, the same file or a similar file that goes in the production line, you update in the PIM sends that to the DAM renders that, that's it. You have the new specifications, technical specification as text, but also the visual, it has changed as well. It's a fantastic tool. It's also it's nice for, I believe we have time. I can show you our DAM, that we don't have this kind of products. So you can see what are some of the, I don't know. Oh, that's going to be difficult for me. Okay, let me log first. This is DAM that we use. Okay, I'm logging in, sorry. Okay, this is DAM that we use. We use it as well as a brand portal, right? If I go to our assets, here I have my assets. Everyone can drop files here. It gets automatically tagged. It's like you might use your Google Pictures or your Apple store for images. You can see that's that part for your company. So you can label resources in the way you need. You can establish workflows. You can do more advanced things like, for instance, when you want to share, well, this is not very shareable, it's an icon. Let's say we have a fancy picture or something that we want to share. Maybe this video. If we want to share, we can establish the policies of that sharing. If it has a password, how long it can be shared in case there's some protection, some intellectual IP on that image that you're sharing, or you understand that it's a product or something that is going to be sunset soon. So you can protect that way. It's also for every marketing and social media, especially some nicer features like selecting multiple, and then you hit download, and then you ask the system to change the size and structure or something, right? LinkedIn post, whatever. If I hit download, it will generate different sizes of the same picture. It will use AI to fill the gaps of the image. There's a little bit of AI as well. And yeah, it's establishing a procedure for downloading your images, which is something that we like in to optimize processes. That's done. So it's not that challenging. Interesting part is connecting that with the website as well. So instead of having to download that and then putting manually into a website, you just hit another of the actions that you see below, push into the website, and it's already there available. Or your website already has that. You don't even have to publish. That's a done. What was I? Here. Okay. Let me see if I can present. Oh yeah, I'm back. That's a done. CMS. CMS is WordPress. WordPress is a CMS, content management system. It can be confusing because everything is content. CMS is mostly content for the website. That's what we're talking about when we talk about CMS. But if you need WordPress, if your company has WordPress, it's okay. It's fine. It's not about software. You can use it. You will have some limitations. We suggest not go that path for several reasons. One of those is that you want to have a composable system, something a little bit more modern. Composable as can go together, like building those pipelines that allows data to go through. This is our, this is our CMS. Of course, it's nicer. You have the visual edition, but those are our all our assets that can be plugged into anything we want. These are by not ours, by content, posts, events, everything. Everything is there. There are APIs, and we can connect that with any information that we want. You want your data to flow. That's what you need. Your data to be available. So I suggest when you look for a CMS, to look in the modern capabilities. One that is, for the AI part, that we like the most is the agentic capabilities. What I mean by that, a model what you expect from a modern CMS. We do that, we experimented quite a lot with that, is to, let's say that you want to introduce a new concept, or you want to add a new keyword, or you want to review some pages, you just type that either in your cloud or in the terminal that the CMS can have, like change the meta title of every page that talks about sustainability, and change the word for whatever it could be. You hit, and the agents will be doing that. So that's there. It's not fancy science. We do that. We do that for optimizing SEO. The case for optimizing SEO that we do is like please go for every page that has a title very too short, and using the content of the same page, make it longer within the limits of SEO. So, okay, done. You need to know the limits. You found the limits. You broke it, right? About more than 30 pages in bulk, it was going bananas. But that's just limitation of a few weeks ago. Today, probably are not there anymore. So that's a modern CMS. That's what you can expect from a content management system today. There is this part, of course, of the SEO, and you will hear terms of IAO, GEO, AI searching systems, right? They have different names. You can pick whatever you want. It's all the same. As I was showing before, you need to review a little bit your strategy of content. Suggestion: push out there as much information as you can in the most structured way. There are some tricks, of course. As I said before, structured data is super important. Keyword stuffing, forget about that. It doesn't work anymore. It didn't work with Google anyway. Google knows correlations, no concepts. That's not a problem. And there is what you can understand how PIM helps you a lot, because what these systems like is fresh information. That's what they love. And someone really is going to tape on ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity, whatever, is going to type pneumatic valves with pressure of something that can be submerged and operate up to 90 degrees. They're going to type that. So imagine the type of information, the amount of information that you need to give to these LLMs. Often companies say, don't put anything there. Our competitors is going to watch that. That's fine. Also, your customers is going to watch that. So I mean, yes, it's a trade-off. But this is changing. And last solution that I want to bring here, Martin, if you have 5 minutes to show us as a demo, is the CPQ. And the CPQ, while you do the connections, just unplug them here. Yes, or will you be doing by the website, or you have a... Yeah, no need. That's fine. No. We can use here. I had it before. Yes, because I saw that you have some nice demos in there. Yeah. The only thing is that you'll have to...
Just show some public.
That's your screen, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not very comfortable for you.
I will just open a few examples.
A bit of context. CPQ is what we were mentioning before. It's the software. Sorry, I will do the pitch for you.
Yes.
Salespeople, they have those awful Excels that they make errors, that they allows configurations that then when they're sent to the production line, they don't work. Also, they take long time. So your potential buyers are waiting weeks to get the proposal. While they're waiting for the proposal, your competitors are already delivering the proposal. So it solves all those issues of consistency, time. Also, it frees up a lot of time for salespeople, right?
Yeah, so my name is Martin, and I'm the founder of this software company, Mercure. We're based out of Aarhus in Denmark, and we just established an office here in Barcelona also, where we have 3 people employed. Thanks a lot for having me for this event. I'm glad that I could participate. And we are a proud partner also with Novicell, who is selling and implementing our software, both in Denmark and here. And as Leandro said, we see a lot of the challenges from your slideshow. We work with industrial manufacturing companies who are selling complex products. So they are not selling standard products. They're not selling a t-shirt in 3 different sizes. They are selling valves. They are selling garage doors. They are selling ventilation units. They are selling complex machines. And the issue that they face, most of those companies, is that it's really, really hard to take some product logic from the engineering department and teach the salespeople how it works, and to make a sales configurator where the salespeople can actually go and configure the products, make a nice quote that is without errors. And I would say most of our customers today are coming from an Excel sheet. They work a lot with Excel, who's typically homemade, maybe with a little bit of VBA coding, maybe with some if statements in there. And some of our customers, well, they don't trust the Excel sheet really. The price list of the Excel sheet is typically old, so they work with different pricing, because they work with the different versions and things like that. So we have made a software which is the industrial term is configure price quote. And we help typically industrial manufacturing companies. It could also be business to consumer brands, but it has to be complex products. And we do sales tools that can be used internally by salespeople, something that can be used by dealers or distributors. Many of our customers are selling through those, and for them it's even harder to understand the product logic. And sometimes it's even used by end customers. And I think you all know this. It's very typical from the car industry. They are some of this is probably the industry where they are the best at this. You can go into Audi's website or Mercedes or BMW or what you want, and you can go in and configure your car. And there can be a lots of different rules when you configure a car. If you choose a certain model, then it does not come with this big battery package. It cannot drive that long. You cannot have those seats with the comfort package. You have to do a sport package and things like that. And imagine the complexity even being a bit larger than that. So this is where our software comes into play. I will just show this case here. It's publicly available. This is one of our customers. I will just zoom a little bit out, and I think it's easier. So this is actually a public available configurator. It's used by end customers for lead generation purposes. They have a similar version internally behind the login with sales prices. It works in this way that you start out defining a project name that could be an office building in Barcelona. And then you choose which units you want to configure. So that could, for example, be this AM1000 ventilation unit, and it could be a floor standing AM900. The first one should be used for room A. The second one for room B. Then you press start configuration, and then you're running through this guided sales flow. So there are multiple things that you have to decide when you configure this, and for every option you can go in and read what are the pros and the cons of this selection. We can do different kinds of visualization. Now this is quite simple visually, it's only images, but it can also be 3D renderings and could be even live 3D models. I'll just quickly go through the logic here, because that's not the most interesting part to you. It's a bit hard to see.
There are rules, right?
There are lots of rules here lying in the background, making sure I'm configuring something that is actually possible. I will just quickly show later on how to build a few of those rules, but I will try to make it fast. So I have configured the first unit. I will just quickly configure the second one, and then we will jump into the output, which I believe is the most important thing. Because once I'm done configuring those two units here, I will end up with this bill of material. So this is a list of all the items that I need, the quantities, and typically there will be pricing information at this stage. You can have sales price per line item. You can even have customer specific discounts and things like that we typically retrieve from ERP systems. Then we have made a documentation area. So as Leandro said, the salespeople should not spend their time finding the right data sheet for this project here. So we will typically get this kind of information from a PIM software to get all the catalogs and things like that. So maybe I would like to have a data sheet, and maybe I would like to have this pre-generated CAD drawing here. Then I have to fill out some details about myself because it's publicly available. But typically you will just pick a customer here from your either your CRM or from your ERP system. Now, and then I'll just write school here. And now we're ready to generate a quote. Now it has generated this sales quote here, which comes with a front page with their branding information, with a few dynamic fields, the date of today, the name, the email of the customer, a few branding pages just quickly explaining who they are, what do they do, what are the pros of buying units from Airmaster. If we scroll further down, we will get to this bill of material, right? This is my configuration. Those are the things I have configured. Typically, there will be pricing here. Then we have some terms of sale and delivery. We see that a lot also, that salespeople tend to forget to send all the delivery terms and the payment terms and things like that. This is a part of the CPQ solution that you can upload those things and have it in all your quotes. Then we have a final page, and then we have all the appendices that I selected. So there will be this data sheet here coming on to the quotes. And if I scroll further down, we will see this CAD drawing, right? Explaining the dimensions of this unit here and things like that. So this is data that we typically get from other systems. So we are, like Leandro said, a composable software. You can configure, integrate it with lots of other softwares. Just to quickly show you how we work with this, we have been focusing on making a no-code solution. Many of the companies I come to, they are, as I said, they are scared of touching the Excel sheet because it was made by someone else a long time ago. So we have really tried to make a software solution that is easy to set up, that is easy to maintain. And I'll just quickly show you how we can build those kind of rules in the configurator. And for that, I have brought this truck here. I have said that when we configure the truck, we have 4 different models. Then we have to decide upon the driving distance per year. We have to decide upon how much should it carry on average, and we should choose the different unit times. The first rule I have made is that if we select the X1 truck, the first one, then it does not come with this turbo diesel engine. Those two are not compatible. So if I click X1, here, then we will see that turbo diesel engine is not possible, right? It's no longer an option. That's a fairly simple rule, but we can also do parametric rules. Let's say that I want to drive. I'm driving more than 60,000. Let's say I'm driving 70,000 kilometers per year, and I choose this electric drive unit. Well, then it will give me a warning here saying, Martin, this is maybe not the best choice. If you're driving that much, maybe you should go for some diesel instead. So this is an example of what I call a soft rule. I'm being told it's not optimal, but I can proceed from here. I can still go with the electric drive technology. Then we can do calculations in here, and that's a really important aspect. Many of those industrial manufacturing companies, they have to do lots of calculations when they make quotes. I've made a fairly simple one here. I said we need to find out how many of those rear axles we need for the truck. And this is actually a function of the average load carried. So we need 1 per 10,000 kilo. So if I write 15,000, then it will tell me now click away. Then I need to. And the field has been marked with gray. It's read only. I cannot change this. This is just how it is. This is a form. So just to quickly show you a little bit of the backend, I don't want to.
Yeah, quickly. We don't have.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. No,
Maybe
have a
not. No, but anyways, we have made a software where it is easy to set up those kind of rules. It's a complete no-code solution.
It's not much harder than, actually simpler than setting up the rules in Excel, I would say.
Yes, exactly. That's at least what we have been trying to do. So you can set up both all the steps in the configuration process inside a builder like this. We call it a form builder. Which steps are we going through? Well, first we select the truck model, then we type some estimated distance per year, average load carried, etc. So we have multiple different inputs that we can use in the configurator. And next to that, we have a rule engine where you can build some of the rules. If we start out with a simple one, then if we look at the turbo diesel gear, the turbo diesel gear rule, then we have a condition. This is basically an if statement. When should the rule run? Well, it should run if the model X1 has been selected. And what should it do? It should hide the turbo diesel engine option. Right. So this is how we can model those kinds of configurators. And the last thing I want to show is this composable architecture, because we see ourselves being sort of part of a big ecosystem with we have been typically being fed with some data from an ERP system. Prices are typically coming from the ERP. We typically get PIM data from attributes and description, images, things like that from a PIM system. Sort of the metadata, I would call it. Then there's some configuration here going on, right? Some rules and a code that has been made, and then we send the data back into ERP. So we typically create a sales code in there, or we create orders in there, so that you can complete your entire production. If this gets to an order. So we see ourselves as part of a bigger ecosystem with integrations to all sorts of things.
Awesome.
That was. I don't know if you have any.
Yeah, I have a quick question. Are we not already now starting to move away from this graphical interface and actually talking to a chatbot or someone on the phone with all the same logic behind us, but actually guiding us through? So we are not doing. Isn't this where the world is?
You mean instead of this window here?
Yeah, exactly. You have a chat window, and you say, "Hey, I need air conditioning in 2 rooms," and you say, "Okay, how big are your rooms?" Right? And it's gonna run you through all of that. At least that's my experience. It comes from with much more guidance. You add the AI in, and it will gauge whether it's a professional buyer or someone just starting out. Right? At least we start also seeing that.
And we also see that that we go more and more to chatbots. We're also releasing a chatbot inside the software that this week actually we are finishing it now. But anyways, for it to work optimally, you will still have to build the rules, right? So that
the whole backend will have to be exactly the same.
Yeah.
I did with the interface.
Exactly.
I think that's what I think a lot of people actually just prefer to. I mean, a lot of us just turn the microphone on with ChatGPT and we talk to it. Right?
I believe it's more likely that to happen, but I agree the rule engine is what's important.
We still need to build the rules, right? But maybe over time the interface will be changing from.
I see the most interesting case when you can drop your specification, your document specification, and said, quote this. And the system will read the PDF with the specification and do that. Thank you, Martin.
Yeah.
We keep going, but we can do more questions by the end, by the way. I can,
I would do. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You also.
Thank you, Martin. You can imagine, I think, okay. It's a perfect case when you see everything connected together. All data flowing, and just think the efficiency. All salespeople, just not saving time, but also I believe during your pitch you might also tell them that the ramp up of training of salespeople is less crucial. It's just you can have some sort of a junior sales agent doing a serious project because there's no room for errors. Okay, now I don't see my screen here, sorry. Give me 1 second. Okay, that's it. Okay, we've seen some issues, common issues in the industry. We got a glimpse of some of the solutions that are there. This is very practical, what I'm going to show you. This is how we need to build, let's build this roadmap. Let's put the things together. Number 1, go for a vendor if you want to define your roadmap. Suggestion, try to find independent consultants. That's the work that we do. A vendor, as you can see, as Martin, bright, clever, wise, and handsome, definitely will guide you. But they are, of course, very knowledgeable and focused on their solution, right? So we suggest that this is the work that we do, actually, that part of the independent diagnosis. And it's important to do this diagnosis and understand what is happening before going to buy something in the market. If it's a CPQ, of course, it's Mercura, but there's no... By the way, something about Mercura. CPQs are not like what Martin showed to you. It's going to be disappointing when you start to go to the market and you just have seen beautiful render and visuals. CPQs are not like that. All the ones that I know about Mercura are very old school interfaces, more like the 90s. So yeah, great job, guys. That's why we like to work with you. So yes, map your activities. You have your issues, map them. Map the user journey, interview everyone in the company if you can. If the project needs to go fast, maybe don't, but try to interview different people, right? Procurement and sales and marketing, of course, and the CFO, CEO, interview them all. Map all the friction or waste, if you want to use the terminology of lean. Map all the waste related with the activities. They all have the great ideas. They didn't have time to implement them. And then just start to list them. This is simplification. When we work with customers, we don't work with less than 50 activities. Then here's when it gets interesting. Try to understand the impact they will have. And if you can, the impact, put a value, economic value. And it's difficult, right? We talked about before, it's marketing, it's not deterministic. But you can set a great rule. Say, speak with salespeople how much it takes for you to do a proposal, start to end, 3 days. Okay, let's try this tool. How much is that? Well, 30 minutes. Then you have a simple rule to start to define either how much time you save or your opportunity cost. That's how you start to put money on your activities, right? Of course, this is the language that our CFO will like to discuss with us. If you cannot do that, just sort them. Say, okay, is this more important than the other? Yes, no, just sort them, but put an order there because they will ask a structure, right? We will look more prepared if you do that. And of course, they put them in an effort timeline, in effort graph. So how much time and money will cost? The effort is just license cost, implementation of a partner. If, for instance, we do implementation, how much we will be charging and how what will be the cost of your internal team. That's also look, in my experience, more professional. And then you have it. Then you have your low-hanging fruit. What are your activities that produce a higher impact with the less effort? Once you have that, you go back to the stakeholders, and of course they say, that makes sense, but we have also other things that don't make sense, but they need to be there. That's normal. Maybe that's strategic. Maybe, we need to be compliant with the law that's going to be 2 years and we want to be prepared. That's fine. You review them, and then, only then, you go for the solutions. So you go to find in the market and do this complex work of searching for solutions. Suggestion for you when you start hunting solutions. We help our customers do that, but we always tell them, of course, do the mapping of features. Put your must-have features, super important, and build around that. The nice to have is okay to have them. Integration capabilities is also a must nowadays. So if it's not composable, then you need someone to help you with that because it's easy to put like composable, right? You will need to understand if they have good APIs, good integration, good workflows, so on. And suggestion for license. If you want to have Mercura and you speak with Martin, say, Martin, how much it costs? Martin will have his matrix of license per visit, per users, for whatever. Ask the Martins how much it costs now, but also project your success in 3 years. Because some softwares doesn't scale linearly. We have seen with some CMSs that some customers they choose a system, like it was the case of CMS, that it scaled awfully. So the third website is costing huge amount of license per year because it's going different tiers. So get your cost now and your cost later. This is very frustrating part. Why? Because pricing matrix is different for every vendor. Not every type of solutions. For instance, CPQs, one might do for documents generated, the other for users, the other for visits, the other for add-ons. So it's impossible to compare apples to apples. It's very frustrating, right? So what we suggest our customers to do is just bring all these. At the end of the day, you want price, right? It's cost. It's that. So you will need to have a lot of indicators, like if it's a CMS, it's visits, users, features, media files or whatever, traffic. You need to have a full list of 20 and just 7 of those apply for different providers. That's how it is. That's how we help them. Once we have this, well, it's trivial. This is a simplified version, of course. You just build your roadmap. Be careful of adding your dependencies. There are activities that might not be crucial, that might not be fancy, but are important to enable. There are stoppers and enabler, right? That they enable feature activities. And just put there, review them every quarter. Things going super fast. So it's important. I suggest this type of exercise that is simplified here. When we deliver this to customers, we drive like year programs, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, right? The first one is very detailed, the second one less detailed, the third one is just more like a vision. But there are programs because we need to buy into that. Then activities can change. And the program can be, we need to open Eastern Europe, I deliver in Eastern Europe, or we need to sell in China, or we need to reduce the time to market, or so on. So review that continuously every quarter at least. And that's basically how you start to practically build your roadmap. That's it. Thank you. Every question, you can contact me. Of course, we get this information. We like to share this information and information that we have because we are in contact with customers. If you want to share also your problems, we will be happy to take those pains and share what we can from our side. So write me an email or anything. Now, questions.
Well, first of all, congratulations. I think it was a very interesting presentation.
Thank you.
You really hit some of the pain points in the companies. I'm a consultant as well. I work with small, medium enterprise.
Was relatable, right?
Yeah, I really see some of these points. Okay, so now from the other side, the thing is also that small companies, they usually don't have the resources to adapt to new tech. Okay?
Yeah.
That's a typical thing. You see it everywhere. The new tech, it's big companies that start with it, then it goes, as it gets more cheaper or more economical, it goes to the medium enterprise and then it goes to the smaller companies. Okay, so my question here is, how feasible is this really? I understand it may be necessary, but how feasible is this really for small and medium enterprises? Okay, and then the other question is about this composability.
Yep.
Okay, because what happens with these small medium enterprises and that they go there for one system like in SAP or SAP usually not, that's too big, but Salesforce or Sage or whatever. Okay, so and they really get stuck with one system. But from the other side, they're also happy that they have everything in one system. How interesting is it for these companies to get into this composable structure?
Yeah. Okay, let me take these two questions. It's a very good point, the one you make, because when I went for solutions here, this is what every company here should have. Here in licenses, we might be talking about easily 200,000 to €1 million per year in licenses. That's fine. That's easy. With this pack, things in software are moving very fast, so we can have that cheaper. And there is one bit that I suggest, so I go further, that yesterday I was showing these slides to Stefania, and Stefania said, just one thing, don't forget to say this, and I didn't say it, which is, what do you think about that? That's okay, but don't forget to mention, this, I'm gonna be there, which is crucial for small companies. Sorry guys for this. The first part, when we prioritize, go for the quick wins. Quick wins should be at least in a quarter, something that delivers value in a quarter. For two reasons. It funds the rest of the activities. And here we're talking about an activity about, just talk about money, 20,000 euros of investment in something, right? And we need to see that start to returning value within the same quarter. So that will fund the rest of the activities. Easy to say, of course, that we as marketeers or consultants, we need to plug the data. And also will build trust in the process, which is also crucial. Oh, this guy for 20 I've said this. Okay, next one is going to be 40 because we do need a license, or we need a consultant, or we need someone. As for composable, there is a hell of composable solutions out there that they are composable, but everything isn't intertwined. So I don't know any tool that does everything good. It's just for market or economic perspective, it doesn't make much sense that's to happen. Or evolutionary point of view, if you want, as well. The crucial part is how easy is that connected. There are a set of tools. I cannot go back to the beginning. Set of tools that I didn't mention, but it's here. This one, iPass, that I like because it's like the beers that I love the most, IPAS. Nice, I love those. It's IPAAS. Those are softwares that help you connect things together. They can be cheap or can they be expensive. Someone might know tools like Zapier. It's a bit of a stretch, but we can consider that an iPass, not an enterprise iPass, but that helps you connect data together. It doesn't enforce rules like others. So from there, then you go to the most professionals like Boomi, that they have an office, by the way, here in Barcelona as well, or MuleSoft, that was acquired by Salesforce. That's a big guys, also very expensive. So the crucial part is how to connect and how to move people away from that monolithic part. It's easy. I can show them the pain. It's like, this, I'm sure that in your off stack, there's a tool that you hate that in your previous company, it was separate and works flawlessly. Whatever, emailing. True that you will use MailChimp when it was called MailChimp. It was fantastic. And now you have in this CRM that it's impossible for you to make an email, something like that. There are many proven cases. One bit though, there is a continuous thinking in the market of going composable, going back, composable, going back. We've shown what is the best case. You have CPQs in Salesforce. Try it. You will not be able to configure as it is in Mercura. So Salesforce can be a great CRM or a great tool, but it doesn't have the best tool of everything. So you want the best of breed, as they like to call in the industry. That's my take on that. More questions?
Do you include CRM in your tools? Something like that?
Come again?
Do you include CRM?
Yes. Yes. It's not there? Oh, yes, it's there. Sorry. Yeah, we do. We work. Yeah.
Is it by ERBs also? Or
Come again?
you wouldn't advise with ERBs?
No, that's a good one. Yes, exactly. That's a good point. We as a company, we start from the CRM, for the ERP above. Yeah, it's a good point. Website, PIMS, implementation of PIMS, DAMs, CRMs.
Taking it into the ground.
Yes.
So that would here CRM website.
That makes sense. Exactly. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
from there you're building.
Yeah. Yes. That checks. When you map, you see where you are. I mean, I'm sure you have a CRM you have a CMS, you have a PIM, as I said before, even if it's not a specific tool, you have a set of procedures that you work with. It's understanding if you need to invest time and money, where it's going to bring back most value. We work sometimes with PIMs that the first stage is not connected with anything, but that's good enough. They still produce Excels, right? But they have all the information there. And they know that if they want to send something to the customer, they will never send the Excel in the drawer. They'll go there and send the Excel away. And once they have the PIM, stage number 1, that's already paid the bills because it's okay, the implementation costs whatever it costs, it starts to bring value back. And then we connect with the ERP. Because if you don't have the connection with the ERP, you need to export an Excel from the ERP and import to the PIM. You can do it if you want to prove the value of your tools slowly. So we shouldn't be stressed of having this perfect spotless system because it doesn't exist. We never see that. You just slowly go there. You can do, CPQ can work standalone, right? You connect with nothing. It's just you need to be careful on the validity of the data. But you already, if you don't connect with anything, you can do lead generation tool. That's perfect for lead generation. So that will be my take. You can, what you said makes sense, but it does require a study because maybe you can start with the PIM to add more value. More questions? For me and for Martin, eh?
I was wondering a bit about this when you compose the quotes in B2B industrial. How keen are customers to offer an open solution with price and configuration? Because with a competitor, could be. Well, I don't see that it's a very high risk, but I mean, if you set up a group on quotes, I think many people would be against it.
Yeah, that's something we discuss sometimes with customers.
Since we get on the detail, if you're going to price, I mean, you know your competitors will have your price.
Yeah.
But when you get into the details, what you can configure, can you offer an open space? Do you have any barriers to prevent traffic on the site, or you validate users? I don't know. To get the quotes, what would be the normal case in an industrial complex quote configuration?
You mean whether it's public available with pricing or?
Yeah, I mean it's up to the value is obvious, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that at some point you need to get to a salesperson, yeah. But the value is obvious because we can show that you have some, yeah, the ability to offer something within your website that's stable, and I think this adds value to your concept.
Yes.
But you're also giving a lot of information.
Yes.
That would be a risk for your company.
Yeah. So I think our customers, when we do this bill of material at the end, it's typically a commercial bill of material. We are not looking into screws or bolts or things like that. How things are exactly produced, that's not something that comes out of the quote. But of course, if it's a public available one, they share certain options that they have with the product and certain recommendations. And some would like to share a list price on the front end publicly available to everyone because they believe those that are interested in the price already know the price more or less. And others like Airmaster, they say, well, we don't want to show our price. Let's make a lead generator for inspectors where they can just see the options, the possibilities, but they cannot see the price. They have to contact us to see the price. So we see both things. This is a question that we get quite often, and I try not to influence the customer too much because that's at the end of the day it's a strategic decision for them if they want prices to be shown or not.
But when you have validated users, is there a user
We can
price?
make a use. We have a login, as you can see in the right corner. If you log in, you can see users and prices and things like that. And we have an approval flow for getting a user, so you have to be approved to get the price.
Okay.
That's a hybrid, I would say. Yeah.
Hi, Leandro. How much should you be? How big should a company be in order for it to make sense to work with you?
Novicell. or or to apply these tools.
That's question one. Question two: do you only do the technical, or you also do the graphical?
We do the graphical part as well. Our
strength is the technical.
strength is the consultancy and technical consultancy, marketing strategy, and then the implementation. ICP usually goes above 50 employees. Above 50 employees. Makes sense to work with us. It depends on the size of the project. Also, it's very different. The first employees, because it's the easier number to find. Number of employees in industrial or in service is completely different part, right? In service, 50 employees can be maybe, I don't know, 4 million turnover. In industrial can be 20 million, right? The investment in the machine. Also, the point that I make very relevant for you, we see a big difference, probably you, Martin, see this better, of the investment in digital in Denmark and in Spain. Spain a little bit more reluctant. So the percentage that they spend in digital in Denmark is, so we see companies in 20 million turnover in Denmark, that will be, I don't know, that should multiply by 7, I believe, that they willing to, yes, 20 million euros, that they're willing to invest 500,000 in their digitalization, like easily. And in Spain, like, no, I have a WordPress, slowly. But that's fine, that's okay. Exactly. Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
What are some of your start case where you have implemented something for a company which really made a big impact?
A stack of tools.
No, I start one of your when you want to boast, when you want to say, hey, we did this for this company, it had this impact. You have something to share.
Oh yes, for industrial PIM and so on, we were just in marketing in this industry, in the marketing strategy, and now we're doing the consultancy for the data plugin for a company that is called Baxi. It's in the same this industry. It's quite big. Baxi. They do heaters. They were for Spaniards. They were, I think. Yes, good one. Exactly. They were Roca. Exactly. Roca, super well-known brand. Baxi, they're still fighting with that. They have brand issues, among others. We were with them in Spain and Portugal. So we do all the marketing part, all the SEO part, of course, strategy of marketing, and now we just delivered, our IT team delivered the consultancy for the piping of the data. So interviewing what we said before, interview with everything. That's what Marcelo did. Understanding what are the frictions and so on. That will say it's one of our nice cases. Then you have another massive customer that is called SMC, that they do, I should know. It's a very technical thing.
What?
What we did is SEO for SMC. Is we work in 17 markets doing SEO for the products to have as much data possible being understood by by search engines and LLMs. The results, we have them on the websites, right? The results. I think I don't have top of mind, but it's just in these cases visibility. What is the issue, or the issue actually with them? We are reporting in visits. That's what they're looking for. Visits. Yeah. Yes. The issues that are now visits, that we were reporting in visits, is going down. If you work on marketing, try to go further. We have one case, one customers, well, one or two that we report directly in money. We understand how much value is every lead, so we start reporting money. But that requires a sales team that is continually feeding back marketing, so the CRM, right? That is crucial. Make sense? Yeah, you had a question?
So no, I was just wondering, so this kind of activity, can that feed back into product development for a client?
That's nice.
Channels.
Yeah.
Focus.
Yeah, that's lovely. There is one there in the slides that I have is just marketing. We often, as marketeers, when we work in the marketing department, we don't give the context nor to salespeople. We just send a lead. This is a lead, and they say, but can you tell me more? What pages have they visited? Maybe they were visiting our website for an entire month, something like that. Actually, we have a nice automation. When a lead arrives, we extend that information with AI to do a research of the person, the company. So when that reaches Eva has the whole view of that lead. we don't do what you say us doing the same for product, I believe is crucial. For marketing, saying, hey, there's a huge interest in this niche of products. There's a lot of engagement, or we have a lot of visibility in the LLMs. And that's just a fantastic opportunity. Yeah, but we haven't went that way with any customer. But I think it's fantastic. What I did mention before is this product team, they wanted the PIM, so they stopped bothering them. The product team couldn't work. This is the company of Saves. They spend half of their time with technical, solving technical questions. If we are not, that's not us. We need to develop product.
Is marketing the main driver for Novicell? Or is it moving into other positions?
We do 2/3 marketing, 1/3 IT, but our ICP, I would say, is 70% marketing, 30% IT. Yeah, it's more, right, Eva? Yeah, yes, and of course, yeah. With these roles in between, like digital transformation, e-commerce manager, but more on the strategy and business part than the IT. Yeah, we try to move away there, actually, from IT. Not because we don't like IT, but we try to up the conversation when we talk about business.
One problem in marketing to B2B is that no two clients understand.
Yeah.
They don't know what they need. They don't know what they want.
Yeah.
So how do you manage that with this approach here where you mix, combine, and you do some compatibility tests, you do some compliance tests and so on. But you actually test for for the needs side. This is where a consultant goes in and says, oh, no, you need to do this now.
Yeah. Well, we don't know better than them. It's impossible. We don't know better than them.
B2B sales is very complex.
We just hear them. It's nowadays for consultants. Tell me if you agree with me. Our work is to make the right questions and make them talk and validate their points and go around. It's mostly that. We do workshops with customers where our goal is to have them talk as much as we can. Those workshops is maybe 3 series of 2 hours. And we'll have the transcripts in AI. And that is where the information is. Your ability to query that transcript is 60% of the consultancy. Of course, you connect with what you know is working in the industry, you review the competitors, yada, yada. But often is their ability to put in words what they need. We challenge them all the time, of course. That's what they like. But it's making them talk and repeat the same things. The 4th meeting, they start to see the value of that. And basically, often what happens is, wow, this is fantastic. This is great. I like. It's just that you told me that. I just put in a nice PowerPoint, but I didn't invent anything. We basically try to shape their thoughts and build the strategy with them. Okay? If there are more questions, now we have time for coffee, do some networking. We can have some informal information there. Thank you.